Congratulations, you made it to another day. Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah. This is the second segment of the rituals behind gang stalking. This is about basically an add on to part one of things that people really don't talk about when it comes to gang stalking. You know, we talk a lot about the narcissist. We say things about the target, but we really don't talk about the target. The thing that the target has to go through, to be enduring these kind of things going on. Life is hard enough as it is. The targets typically are black people. It could be anyone or anything, but it is mostly black women. And when you have, as a black woman, you have to prove yourself to this world. I mean, you have to show and prove who you are behind the stereotypes of being seductive, being like the Sarah Bartman type of thing. You know, we have to go through a lot. We are the ones that have to, if you're a single mother, and, I'm sure it's in all races, but I'm talking from my perspective because I'm a black woman, that we have to go through things. Being a mother and a father, if, the husband's not present or the father's not present, work 1 to 2, 3 jobs or go to school, it's a lot that a mother, single mother, would have to go through. And when she's going through, people see her coming in and out. When I was working and I had my home, people would literally just watch because, I don't have time to talk. I have to take care of business and do what I need to do. So, I don't want to talk, you know what I mean? Time flies. So, when you're talking about the target, um, many people get it wrong with the target. I mean, like I said, when it comes to me and going to places for the first time, and someone is insinuating on being, a gang stalker or a perp is there, they never get it right with me. They don't know me. They have a hard time believing that I'm the target, because basically I don't carry myself, an insecure way. I'm open. I talk to people. I look people straight in the eye, and that's what I do when I come into that room. So about time they figure out that I'm the target, I already got what I need to get, and I'm gone. So whether they know I'm one or not, I still keep it moving. I don't waste time with people, and that's just that. So a lot of people, I find, when they say, "Oh shoot, I'm targeted too," a lot of them, they're not, because they don't really know the full extent of targeting. And when you don't know the full extent of targeting, you can look at it, the target, as an uncaring person. Um, you know, they just constantly misjudge you because you're not understanding that there's certain things that you can do that we can't do. We have that slander on us and that stigma that we can't do certain things that other people can normally do. So that's where it confuses relationships and people, of assuming things, because they're constantly listening to the narcissist, filling the blanks of whatever you got going on. You're not willing to talk, so the narcissist is. And when the narcissist is talking, they're talking about, they're trying to talk about the target, but it's basically themselves. You know, they just say anything to just to keep you from the target, and that's a shame. But the rituals that they keep doing is slander, of course. They want you to believe anything that comes out the narcissist's mouth. And you know, they're the middle person. They're all in the middle of the situation, just to get a reaction. And when you actually talk to the person, nothing like that will say it. They just go about saying things just to get a reaction or get you to see what you're pulling. You know, when you go fishing and you sit in the water, or you're in your boat, or you just along the way, and you put your bait on your fish hook. Well, that's what the narcissists do. When it comes to these programs, the city, state government, local officials, they sit and they put the bait on the hook to see what every storyline matches. When they used to satanic gadgets devices, you know, that means that they are running out of money. You know, everything else that they have tried in the book doesn't work. And I said, of course, because I'm not really a target. You're trying to fit a circle in a square. And, you know, usually when they first find that you're not engaging with the situation, they drop. They try to send a honey trap to you. Uh-uh. You know, they have to have a profile. And when they realize the profile doesn't work with the target, that person is supposed to go. They're not supposed to be here. And you know, you can't make, you know, if the target says I like light-skinned men, that has money, um that person has to have that, or else, you know, you're wasting your time with the honey trap. So, you know, I'm just making an example that everything has to go on inside you. You're wanting the target to want that perk. And if they don't have anything of that criteria, it's a waste of time and money, of trying to get someone that's targeted to be around that person or be with that person. So when you know that, you know, it helps. You know, if you know that I'm saying I like chocolate men, I like chocolate men, and then here's someone that's not even close to chocolate, then it's never gonna go. You know what I mean? But I'm not telling them. You know, it helps because you're not wanting them anyway. Even if you did came across a chocolate man, you're saying, well, I see you color coding, so I'm gonna keep it moving. You know what I mean? And some of them, they don't know, that working at agency, you know, they're mad because they can't be chosen. That the target isn't wanting them, and so they'll say, yeah, you're dark skinned, you know, you have money. Well, here, put the color coding on so you don't, because you're dealing with the rituals of jealousy, envy, and hate. And so when you have those demons out there in that occult, you know, they can't stand competition. And so when they don't fit the criteria, excuse me, they get upset. And so you just say, oh, well, be upset. But they're not supposed to bring someone. If I'm liking dark skinned men, chocolate men, you know, then they're not supposed to keep bringing the same, you know, agents that's never gonna catch with the target. You know, and it's just, I guess they don't have a lot of people in their agency to do the work or want to be there. So, you know, chocolate or brown skinned men, you know, that's where I be questioning, like, where do they get their honey traps for? Because they ain't getting nothing of something that's supposed to be on my appetite, you know. So, you know, I guess they just saying, you know, we don't want to cause any trouble with you, because sometimes they do that. They kind of say, hey, you know, this is look like we don't want her to track, be with this person. We're trying. It's just a safety mechanism. And so, because I'm saying, it's just something else. The rituals that they do, because you're dealing with sorcerers, warlocks, and witches and wizards. They all come together to try to hate on you. Doing these spells and rituals just to get somebody to be with them, or just to have the heads up on you, excuse me. And it doesn't work all the time. When you're aware, because you're not supposed to be aware of the program. If you're aware of the program, they don't want you in there, but their pride won't let them face that they're never going to get in with the target. I mean, that's me. If you call me a target, nah, you're not getting in. You know what I mean? If you're not somebody that I want to be with, you're never getting in. I don't care what you do, you know. And I have very limited time and people. I'm all about my family, and I try to make that known. So, you know, uh, the narcissist, you know, their whole way of life is trying to stage things everywhere you go. They have nothing going on with themselves, absolutely nothing. So, they come to your city and they think that they have some form of power, and it just makes them look stupid because the power that they have, they should learn how to control oneself, but they can't. They can't. And the things that they do and say, satanic gadgets and devices is saying, eventually you gonna get yours. Um, they're all about trying to figure you out. And you saying, really? It take 4 years to figure me out, and it's just a shame that people go through this and then believe somehow, some way that you're supposed to have some form of a relationship with them. And I don't owe them. I don't owe them nothing. You know. You a gang stalker or a perp? Nah, man, I don't owe you nothing. You know what I mean? I mean nothing I can do legally. So, I just kind of sit and I ask God, the Most High, to help me and to deal with life and situations. Um, it's just some people they're not willing to let that go. You know, um, if the only person in your life that you can trust is the Most High, then that's cool. That's cool, and you know, um, work. You throwing yourself into work just to keep yourself afloat. That's all you should be focusing on. If anything is out the way, yeah, you can tell your boss. You got to learn how to talk to your boss. Don't let them intimidate you. When things, the street theater and stuff. I tell people, listen, I ain't here for all that. I'm here to work. And so that's what you do. You work. The rituals also consist of, there's things that, right now the narcissists and the gang stalkers are biting their fingernails right now because they don't want you to know certain things that they do. That's mutual with gang stalking. Yeah, like I was trying to get a manicure, a pedicure, and my feet. You know what I mean? I was thinking like, they give out gift cards. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of tempted to hang with one of those gang stalkers, but I chose to say, nah, I could do it myself. You know what I'm saying? Hey, can I get, you know, get my toes and my nails done and then stop talking to them? They don't like that. You know what I mean? What are you talking? You have to make sure, hey, I mean, the city's paying for it. So you just look at them and they like, hey, you remember me? And you look at them with a dead face and you say, I don't know you, sir, ma'am, or whoever it was that gave you I don't know you. And then you start running away, you know, there's things that you could do, hey, I'm a homeless person. You know what I'm saying? I'm barely making it. So, I gotta do what I gotta do. And you know what I'm saying? Why come the state keep doing that stuff? You know what I mean? Why is they paying people to do that stuff? So, I gotta get in where I can, you know. I'm gonna post my toes on Instagram. I got pretty toes. And so the Lord's blessed me with pretty toes. And so that's that. So, I got to be silly a little bit, but this is serious. This is real serious of rituals that they do in gang stalking that they think you don't know nothing about. They just, they just think, and they take their notes. Did you know that? That the gang stalkers, they take their notes when you sitting here talking because they trying to figure out, they always got to have a storyline, you know. They can't just gang stalk. They need something to tell you something to make you believe that they're saying something. They're not saying nothing. Remember, when you call it V2K, voice to skull, no, it's not that. It's actually them using some form of the thing. I seen the device. It looked like a big speaker. You know what I mean? It's got fur on it. And one day I was sitting in Starbucks, and when I was sitting in Starbucks, one of the homeless people they brought that thing in there, and it's a big thing. It looked like a speaker box, and it had like fur on the thing that you talk on. It's like a wire connected to it, and he brought it right in front of me. So that's not V2K. That's some weird device that they had with a speaker on it. And so they wasn't supposed to do that. They wasn't supposed to do that. And I just played it off like I didn't see it, but I saw it. And so I'm saying I knew it was something, you know what I mean? I knew it was something. But I just still go about my way. These people who get on here and talk on that thing that you call it the voice to skull, but it's a satanic gadget device. When they get on there, they're talking and they can't stay off of it. They're always on it because they're feeling that this is some form of a control for them, or that you would get annoyed by what they're doing. But it's just something that they're bound to. These are demon possessed people, and they honestly have nothing going on in their lives. And I understand that, and I'm kind of lonely myself by choice, but I'm not one to bother people. You know what I mean? Yeah, when people have done me wrong, I forgive them and move on. And it's just people that they misunderstood who you are. That's me. Um, you know, People will call me Solange. You know what I mean? When it comes to my sister, they call me Solange. I'm kicking people in the elevator. That's not me. You know what I mean? I choose not to do violence, but yeah, I'll go in if you going in on me. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not the Solange. And shout out to Solange, whoever Solange is. But the rituals. Let's get back to the rituals that you need to know. If you being targeted, you need to hear this, because y'all know they be doing some weird stuff, and you got to open up your eyes and see. You know what I mean? The first thing that I said from the first video is you got to learn and have a relationship with the Most High Yahweh. You have to. If you don't know Christ, and you know when God is telling you to do something, you're not gonna have the discernment to know, to get away from harm's way, or understand what are they doing. If there's something going on, you want to be aware of that, so you can move yourself out of harm's way. Also, you're dealing with witches, warlocks, wizards, and soothsayers. The way that I see it, most gang stalkers, they got theirs that smoke meth. A lot of them smoke meth. They'll get on the little furry thing and be talking all kinds of mess. And they want you to believe, like one of them, they were trying to talk like a police officer. You know what I'm saying? Really? You're not a police officer, I can tell. And there you go, trying to say something about me, but I'm just saying that's how they do it. They get so comfortable with the gang stalking, and they they have the spirit of delusion on what's really going on. The people who do it, and I'm trying to hold it down for me and my children, because I believe in the Most High Yahweh is going to change some things. But once dinner time roll around, yes, I know how to cook. Um, they want to know what I'm eating, what I'm cooking, and it's just strange. You know what I mean? I also want to talk about. I said that it's drug trafficking, human trafficking, and sex trafficking. So, ladies, and probably men. I don't know from the man's perspective, because I'm not a man, but I'm a woman. Um, the reason that they will want to gang stalk you, I was talking earlier about the items of when you go to the store and you go look at, let's say I said it was toothpaste, and the toothpaste probably costs like $5, and you're saying, so where's the toothpaste? Is it not come in, or you ran out, or and the store will say they ran out or whatever. We don't know. You have to ask them. Sometimes it might be discontinued, so you might want to ask. Don't just think that somebody gang stalking you. But if sure enough that you could tell that they just took it off because they know that that's the toothpaste you use. We've all experienced that. Those have been targeted. That you go to the store and you can't find the item. Well, a lot of times, they're trying to get you to boss down on things. If that toothpaste you buy costs $5, they'll take every bit of that off the shelves. Either put it in the back room or something. Put it in the back shelf to hide it from you. So you're saying, why every time I go in the store I can't find what I'm looking for? Because 9 times out of 10, the narcissist, or when it comes to the program, they literally have to do kind of what you do. They have to buy that toothpaste, that very toothpaste that you're using. So that's way, if they're saying something bad about you, you're thinking they're looking at you, but they say, it makes your breath stinks with that toothpaste, and you say, you know what it do? I'm just saying, let's say you say that. They have to experience everything you're experiencing. So they'll get the toothpaste you get and say, my breath don't smell good. So if mine ain't smelling good, they assume yours ain't smelling good. So they say, oh, this toothpaste make your breath stink. And so we got to get rid of this. or it costs $5. That's way too much. You're dealing with someone with the spirit of poverty. So it also, the reason why they will want you sexually is because some of them are wanting you sexually, um, to the point where they're saying it's a possibility they could be trying to put you in a trap. They're saying, you spend $20 here, 40 here, 30 there. They're trying to get you conditioned so you're down to nothing when it comes to sex trafficking. So when you go buying $5, it's a trick to see if they can get you to spend $1 on toothpaste. They're trying to get you prepared to be in a sex trafficking situation. So that's why you see certain things is missing that you like, because that's what they're into. And it's a shame. It's a shame, but I pray to the Most High Yahweh that we stay in the good graces of His will and His grace and His mercy. And things that are being revealed is just to show you that, this is just evil, especially when you're talking about you're a Christian, you're a righteous child of Yahweh, and you got some pervert, or I don't know, they're a predator or what have you, trying to talk to you and tell you things, and they're not realizing that they're not wanted. I don't want no person who signed up. You're supposed to be a man. God has called you to lead and provide, and here you are trying to talk sexual to me, and I'm saying, hey, I'm celibate. Even if I wasn't, I wouldn't give you the time or date. You know what I mean? Because they have this perspective of, even the state of black women, and they just think that they could just run a Pookie and a Ray Ray on you, and everything be all fine. The case is covered up, and no, you can't. If you don't have the money to take care of me as a man, because I got a family, then there's nothing that we can do for you. It's about being able to take care of yourself and making healthy, wiser decisions. And you got someone that just won't get a job, and they're sitting here and they're playing everybody and trying to make you believe that, oh yeah, she want me, and their pride won't just face the facts that I don't want you. Whatever you saying to these people, I do not care. And so they trying to make it like, that you're with them, and you saying, who the I'm still trying to figure out who you was from the past. And it's not to shame you, but it's just about, I don't know who you is. I don't want to be with someone like you. You know what I mean? So you're trying to keep your sanity there and realize this is something more than I can handle, and I hand it over to Jesus. You know, um, this is just going on all over the country, and the U.S. thing that they can't stop it, and they can. And I don't care about none of that. I care about my kids, and that's where I'm gonna stay until then. So I'm gonna cut the ritual short, and just know that God is with us. He never leaves us, and He never forsakes us. And there's just other things that I have to expose dealing with gang stalking. As a child of Most High Yahweh, if He has called me to do so, it must be exposed. And that's where I leave that. All right, y'all. Have a blessed day.